you create for yourself a marketing opportunity to say, hey,
Mm.
look, I'm investing in your repair. We're investing in your car. And it's a lot easier to sell yourself to your customer base when they can see that you care about making their car correct.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Body Bangin podcast. We are here again today talking about the hot topics in the collision industry, our industry that we love so much that drives us crazy. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can also click that follow button. That way, it'll queue up for you next time you want to go listen to something good while you're driving or at the gym. Good material to kill some time. So, today we have somebody on that we've been trying to get together and do this for a while. B, we're going to talk about a topic that really needs more attention in the industry. So today I've got Alex Stapleton on. Hello, Alex.
Hey, Mickey.
Hey. So everybody, do you know Alex? I think a lot of you guys do. Alex is with Spinisi and he is the North American Sales and Marketing Director. Did I get that right?
You
Was
did. You
all
got it right.
right. That was a little bit
Yeah.
of a mouthful, but I think I got it. Okay. So you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes, I'm happy to have you. So I know a lot of you guys use Spinisi equipment. I'm from across the pond, um, in your shops, and we love it. And one of the things Alex and I were talking about was pre-measuring because it is something that's so important. And don't turn this podcast off because you're like, yeah, 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 same old thing. Listen, I'll quote Mike, my good buddy Mike. Listen with the intent of being influenced. Have you heard that before, Alex? It's a good one.
Every trade show we go to, Mike's there giving a sermon. So
That's
I've heard
right.
I've heard Mike speak on this a few times.
So, from your perspective, why are people? Let's ask this question first. Why are people not doing pre-measuring? What is the issue?
Uh, I mean, as an industry, we're so big, we're sometimes slow to move. I mean, pre-scans started in the 90s and it was the 20 teens before it became popular. So like that's such a just simple process and
Hmm,
it took that long to really catch on
true.
countrywide. And that's just plugging in your scan tool, which is a little more complex than that now. But for a long period of that, it was plugging in an OBD2 and pulling a report off. So it wasn't a difficult thing to do, but it's just the value proposition isn't always there, which is why from our side, trying to push this pre-measuring concept, people like Mike Anderson have been a huge help preaching blueprinting,
Yep.
100% dismantle. Because if you don't have all the information in the front on what you're trying to fix, how can you properly assess and repair your damage?
Mm. Totally. So when you guys are working with shops and they're not pre-measuring, what is there something that you finally say to them where it's like the aha moment? Where do you
Typically, the
where's the
aha moment,
breakdown? Yeah.
the aha moment comes when they realize that they're not pre-measuring, and then we get a phone call and it says, "Hey, we're trying to put this car together and the parts don't fit."
Hmm.
Because a lot of shops are still, they're still doing this pre-order parts, pre-paint parts, and then bring the car in and try to have the car, key to key under 7 days or whatever
Right.
their goal is. So without that blueprinting step and the pre-measurement step, because I don't care how long you've been in this industry, you likely can't see 6 or 7 millimeters with your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and that amount of damage can cause some fitment problems.
Mm-hmm.
Now, typically the aha moment comes when it's 14 to 20 millimeters of damage that was hidden somewhere that didn't get caught in a blueprinting or pre-measurement process. So now they have these painted parts and they're not sure how to get this car back on the road
Mm.
because it's supposed to go home tomorrow.
Right.
So after we go in and we try to help them with that situation, we show them what needs to be repaired or replaced. Then they're usually believers in the pre-measurement process because they don't want, we're slow to react in the industry, but we're pretty quick learners. So
Mm-hmm.
when we have the big problem, typically we will repair it and fix it afterwards. So that's
Right.
where I see the aha moment is after there's already been a mistake. But
Hmm.
ideally, we just fix it and we not have the mistake to start with. But
That's too easy.
right, right, glass half full.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm thinking when I do a lot of talking with shops. We talk about a lot of different stuff. And I know time is of the essence. And I'm wondering how much in my talks with shops, when they're saying that they don't do X, Y, or Z, it oftentimes comes back to it takes too much time. Like even if it comes to researching OE procedures, I mean,
Yeah.
really, in everything and anything that comes to preparatory work, it seems like time seems to be the big pushback. So, what are you guys seeing when it comes to pre measurement? What is the time that it takes realistically? I mean, for shops that are listening right now that are thinking, I don't do it because it just takes too much time. I don't really feel like it's worth it. I don't need to do it. Let's take that time component potentially out of it. So, I feel like I ask a question and then I ramble on for a minute. So, back to the question. How long are you seeing that the pre-measurement is taking?
So every car is different. Obviously, in an optimistic scenario, we don't find any damage, and we're able to align the machine. Um, and I can only really give you times based on our equipment. The Spinisi Touch, I'm sure a lot of
Okay.
people are at least somewhat familiar with that. So we're able to align under the hood and
Yep.
then take our measurements of that and maybe even create additional data points to ensure that the structure is sound, body components are measuring straight. And in those situations, we're in and out in 30, 40 minutes.
Okay.
Um, Now, it's not one size fits all because, maybe the front fender aprons are just absolutely demolished on this car. We know there's going to be damage. We just need to know how much.
Hmm.
And in that case, we're going to have to start our measuring process underneath the car and then work our way up. So
Hmm.
that does take a little bit more time. The thing that it doesn't really take any more time to add the measurement to it though than it does to go ahead and tear it down. So it's just
Okay.
something we're kind of adding in lockstep with the tear down process. And that's
Okay.
where I feel like shops break down typically is if they don't have SOPs on how they want to operate in the tear
Hmm.
down process, then they're going to probably struggle with this a little bit. But if they start building these processes in and just, hey, every time there's more damage than cosmetic distortion, to use like GM lingo for
Right.
how they want you to measure their columns. We're going to pull out the Spinisi Touch or the XYZ measuring machine.
Hmm.
Then it's going to be more efficient in their shop and in their workflow. And it's like anything else, the more you do it, the faster you're going to get. So
True.
I'm sure there are technicians out there doing this in 20 minutes, measuring an entire car in an hour. But on average, if everything goes smooth, 30, 40 minutes. So it's not a huge time suck. We don't see really any pushback. At least I've not heard of a whole lot of pushback from bill payers on not wanting to cover the cost to
Mm-mm.
measure cars
Yeah, I was going to
because
ask that. Hmm.
in reality you're mitigating their risk too. So if we do all of these repairs and then at the end of this process we find out that there's 20 millimeters of damage on a rail that got missed and now this car is a total loss,
Hmm.
then they've got all this time that they paid for a rental. They've got all this
True.
time in the repairs that the shop's going to want compensated for. They have all these parts that are going to have to go back, and then they're going to take a beating on the IAA evaluation of the cars. So
Yeah.
I've not personally in a shop setting or from my current position had much pushback from insurance providers or bill payers in general on we don't want to see that on a sheet.
Hmm.
So
That's good to know. Well, because that's the secondary issue, but I'm not going to get paid for it.
right.
Time and money, right? That's like so valuable for all of us in every walk of
Yeah,
life.
absolutely.
Um, so now when they're doing the pre-measurement, what type of additional tools? So if a shop's never done any type of pre-measuring, what are the types of tooling that they're going to have to get? Because now we're talking another expense, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we make a pretty smooth system for that. It's everything's enclosed with an arm and a probe. You could, if you wanted to, you could even if you were just using like a tram gauge, a digital tram, and doing some sort of pre-measuring that way, you're still going to be more efficient in your repair process.
Mm.
Obviously, you're not able to properly collect that data, and then you're not really able to get all the other, it's two-dimensional measuring, so you're never really going to be able to figure your height into that. If something's pushed down or pushed up, you're never really going to get
Okay.
that information. But there's a lot of different ways to pre-measure the car. A three-dimensional measuring system is going to be the most efficient. It's going to be the fastest. And then
Right.
you have data to support your repair decisions. So, I mean, that's
Right.
ultimately what we're trying to accomplish here. Like
Right.
obviously all of these systems can be used for repair as well, but how can you repair something if you're not sure what you're fixing? It's
Hmm.
the same argument with pulling procedures and pre-scanning vehicles and 100% disassembly. You can't really know where you need to end until you know where to start.
Yeah. And I actually, John Shoemaker and I talked a little bit about pre-measuring on a podcast. I feel like it was many moons ago. And he was talking about the importance of it because if you think about similar to what you said, you know what you're dealing with up front versus you get deep into the depths of this repair and now you realize you've got all these issues and impact has affected parts of the car that you hadn't anticipated potentially. All of these things come up, but you don't really know. It's kind of like triaging a patient in the hospital. Like if you haven't checked all the things and you just start in, you could be missing something integral to the repair. Am I off
Yeah,
base with that?
no, 100% accurate. I mean, that's the goal here, do no additional harm while
Right.
still in the medical industry. If it doesn't need, and I'm not going to pretend like I haven't measured cars that I would have bet and lost money that would have structural damage.
Mm,
And then when it's all said and done, the car is square. And
right.
if I would have thought that as many cars as I've seen in other shops and in my shop, then I would have, had no information and just assumed that it was damaged because it looked like it should have been and
Yeah.
started pulling on it, then I might have pulled it into damage.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah, so I feel like it's a common misstep that most shops are not doing it. And like you even said, oftentimes we don't make adjustments until it's uncomfortable, until it causes pain for us. Then we make an adjustment, make a change because change is uncomfortable on its own. But I feel like this is something that we could be doing in shops that, although, yes, different, you're going to change your process a little bit. Adding it in is going to save you so much time. Again, being the time, the money on the back end of it. I just feel like it's a no brainer. It's just I think it simply comes down to being uncomfortable right now, doing something different.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then now we're talking about just like the assessment of damage, but the other thing is it's going to really speed up the shop's flow too, because
Mm.
at what point of the repair this car needs to enter the process. So there's no guesswork, it's not going to just go from estimate and supplement to paint or body. If it needs to
Right.
go enter the heavy repair segment first, it can start there so that
Mm.
we're not, then the car progresses linear instead of in a circle, so everything
Yeah.
moves forward. So you're ultimately going to be more efficient as well.
Yeah. I like that. I feel like you would be a good guy to ask the question of what, because there are so many like common pain points that you see that really come down to a shop's mentality. Like I think this is a mentality thing. Like we've done this for so long, we're just going to keep doing it. We don't want to be uncomfortable and change. What else do you see out there besides pre-measuring that you feel like if they just got out of their comfort zone a little bit, did something a little bit different, this could be so beneficial. I'm totally throwing this at you out of left field. Don't hate me.
No, you're fine. Honestly, I feel like you're baiting me because my answer is going to be marketing. I mean, that's
Ah, I didn't
that's
pay him
something
for
that
this,
nobody.
folks.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I think she knew what she was doing. She's playing chess, not checkers.
Right.
No, but nobody. It's another thing that nobody really thinks about until it's time. Our numbers are down, our car count's low, but that's
Mm,
not the time to market. That's the time to sell. You need to go
absolutely.
sell yourself now. If your car count's low, you need to be in your community selling your business.
Yeah.
Where when your car count's high and the money is flowing, that's when you should be building your brand with marketing so that
Mm,
the work's coming in
yeah.
when everyone else slows down, you're steady.
Right.
So that's a big one. Um, Obviously, pre-measuring is a big one. Equipment upgrades, that's always just across the
Mm,
board, keeping up with the technology. Not everybody wants to be a certified shop. I understand that.
yeah.
Um, but those certification standards are in place for a reason. So
True.
I still see videos of shops online putting Volkswagen vehicles in pinch weld clamps, and that's been a no-no for a while.
Mm,
Some of those things are, it's been good enough for X amount of years, so it'll be good enough for the remainder of my career. Or
right.
I do run into that sometimes where people they're trying to make that decision. Do I want to invest for the next 5 years, or have I done my time and I just want to get out?
Yeah.
So it's a tough industry. It really is. There are a
Mm,
lot of issues. Obviously, complicated bill payer problems,
Yeah.
equipment's expensive across the board,
Right.
upgrading technologies in cars and equipment. I mean,
Yeah.
ADAS, and it's a tough industry. It's not for the lighthearted.
It is not. The economy, we've got people not wanting to spend money. So we've got shops slowing down more so than they have in a very long time. And being in marketing, I get called in a panic. I get my calendar is literally booked out with people, shops in a panic. Like you were saying, I need help and I need help yesterday. The issue is also, in addition to that, is there's just people don't want to spend the money. If the car's drivable, they're going to drive it. So the RO count is going down, claims count with insurance companies are going down. Yet, like you're saying, shops have to be stepping up to be purchasing the equipment, to stay up with the technologies, to do the training. So there's like all these things that cost money, yet the cash flow potentially is down just because of where we're at with our economy as we sit today. So it puts a lot of pressure on the shops. And I think that that's part of the reason we're not seeing as much maybe adaptation to some of these things. Like it's almost like people are in a freeze state that I'm talking to
Yeah,
right now. They're in such like a panicked freeze state that like there's either we've got the guys that are just really doing good, they're solid and they're making jumps. They're jumping, they're buying the equipment, they're sending their people to training, they're opening up an ADAS calibration center, they're doing the marketing. And then we've got these guys that are frozen, and I say guys, gals, you know what I mean? That are really frozen and so scared, really, fight, flight, or freeze. We're like in this freeze mode where they almost don't know what to do because everything's so unpredictable. Yet, if you want to stay in business, like you've got to be moving forward on all of these things. So I think all of the points that you made are valid. The pre-scanning, that potentially takes money to buy a piece of equipment that you don't already have. Marketing, yeah, you should have been marketing all along, not when you are going to close your business in 2 months and you need a miracle. Um, and then upgrading tools. Like, again, these are all things that cost money. But from a marketer's opinion, perspective, and business owner's perspective, this is opportunity to really understand the difference between expense and investment.
yeah,
And everything that you're talking about is an investment of money, but your time, but it's the investment mindset versus expense. Like it's not an expensive time to do pre-measuring. It's not an expense of money to buy pre-measuring equipment. It's an investment. And I feel like same thing for marketing. I hear it all the time. I don't want to spend that much money. It's an investment. You're spending the money to make more back, to be more
absolutely.
efficient, to be better. Like, do you feel
Yeah,
like are you coming up against people where you feel like it's really a mindset thing more than anything else?
it is. And one of the things that we discuss frequently and we try to convey to any potential customers is that you're buying an asset, especially when you're talking about the measuring system, is
True.
you're not purchasing a liability. This isn't something you just write off.
Right.
It's going to become, to eliminate what I think as a previous repairer is the most important part is that I'm going to give my end user the best experience because I'm going to repair the car with all the knowledge I need to repair it.
Mm,
To eliminate that from the equation and just to attack this from a dollars and cents standpoint, I create a billable operation in pre-measuring.
mm-hmm.
I'm going to locate more damage
Mm-hmm.
regardless of the amount of damage. So I'm going to create more touch time of the vehicle. So, maybe my car count's down, but on an average RO, I'm increasing it by 3.5 hours frame time. So my car count's down, but I created billable operation in the measurement. I'm creating an average of an additional 3.5 hours per RO in frame time. Now I've created more income for my business. So
Right.
this expense, it doesn't take very much. If we talk about a lease or a loan or purchase, you don't have to have a huge car count for this piece of equipment in
Mm,
particular to pay for itself.
very good
And then,
point.
and then also you create for yourself a marketing opportunity to say, hey,
Mm.
look, I'm investing in your repair. We're investing in your car. And it's a lot easier to sell yourself to your customer base when they can see that you care about making their car correct.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a critical piece. I'm glad you brought that up because oftentimes in shops, and I listen doing marketing, we listen to calls that shops get when we push them leads. And it's really interesting how shops communicate with their guests, with their customers. And I feel like I've been preaching it, and some shops get it and some shops don't. That informational piece is so powerful. Like, we're the experts. We, meaning I'm a former shop owner. So I put myself in the shoes of a shop owner. As a body shop, we are the experts on how to fix that vehicle. And when you inform the guest, and have your CSRs listen to this, when you inform the guest, you're not bothering them, you're not annoying them with information, you're proving that you are the expert and that you care. Like, if I was just somebody off the street and you were to tell me, we've gone ahead and purchased this wonderful equipment, this high-end equipment. The beautiful thing about it is we're able to pre-measure your vehicle and find hidden damage that you would normally never know about, that other shops aren't going that extra mile, and explain all of that to them rather than being a nuisance to the guests. I think it's a huge opportunity to show the value of your business and who you
Yeah.
are to differentiate yourself.
I think something a lot of shop owners, CSRs would benefit from is just sales training in general, because
Yeah.
we've all gone to like restaurants and been made to feel like we didn't belong there, they didn't want to deal with us.
Right.
I think that it's easy to fall in because we invest so much time in understanding the process and learning these vehicles. It's easy to just think like the customer doesn't want to deal with all that. We deal with it every day.
Totally.
They don't want that put on them. But that's like I think you're undermining your customer that way. They should know. And maybe they come back and say, "Hey, look, man, I don't care about that. I just want you to fix my car."
Yeah.
But and honestly, from a repair side, I've had customers that have told me something similar to that, and I've just told them like, maybe we aren't the right fit for each other because I
Right.
want you to be involved. I want you to understand what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then I've had them say, "Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I should know what's going on." Or I've had them
Mm,
say, "You're right. I'll go down the street." And
mm.
that's just a decision you have to make. But I think you have to give your customer the chance to be involved in their own repair. I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of nuance also involved in state laws with authorization to
Mm.
repair and supplements. And I don't know how you could accurately get some of these authorizations without informing them of what you're doing, because
True.
these severance is higher than ever. I mean, it's not cheap
Hmm.
to fix a car.
Yeah.
The days of a $1,200 in and out are basically over. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think customer education is key, and I think that that starts obviously before the first interaction when they hit the
Mm.
deer or someone
Yeah.
backs into them at Kroger or whatever the situation may be. I think it
Yes.
starts with your marketing presence 6 months before they have the accident.
Yeah.
I mean, get involved in the local schools, show up,
Right.
get involved in the community. If there's events, be there. Don't just
Right.
pack it in. So,
Yeah, I absolutely, well, I would agree with that. I
right,
agree with that.
right.
Yeah, brand awareness is very, very big. And I 100% agree. The other piece of it that I was going to say that made me think about it. So oftentimes in body shops, we become order takers. You'll hear the CSR, the estimator, whoever, the repair planner, the consultant, whatever you want to call people these days. We all know what I'm talking about. Anybody dealing with the customer, it's like we're taking an order. But if you think about it, like what you're saying, like with a restaurant, it just made me kind of flashback. Like if I go to McDonald's, they're going to take my order. If I sit down at Mastro's Steakhouse that costs $1 bazillion to take my family to go eat there, they're going to tell me the specials on the menu. They go so far as to tell me how it's cooked, the ingredients that they use, what makes it so special, what type of oven and everything else. And they're not telling if they were telling me something that I didn't care about, it was like, why bother? They wouldn't do it. But it builds value and it helps you as the consumer understand the value, because people don't. Well, I think we need to remember that we know auto body because we've been in the industry. This is what we do every day. The average consumer has no idea. So when you educate them, you're helping to build the understanding and the value in your business and what you're providing for them. So I love that analogy of going out to eat. Like I think that's exactly right. And it's sales, like you said. That's actually sales, and nobody really gets taught sales in our industry. But
Yeah.
if we can start looking at it from a consumer's perspective versus us with each other, it totally flips things. And I think you'll start viewing your business and what you do in your business differently.
I mean, I would just rather be the Michelin restaurant than McDonald's. I want to tell you what I'm going to make for you,
Yeah.
and then you're going to say, okay, as long as it's good, that's fine. And
Right.
that's how I recommend, you're the expert. Don't come
Yeah.
down on your customers, but tell them what you're going to make. Maybe give them a couple options for how you're going to make it. Tell
Right.
them what they're going to get and then deliver. And
Yeah.
I think we'll have a much better interaction with your customers, and you'll see reviews start to climb,
Mhm.
and referral business from the B2Cs increase instead of relying on the
Yeah.
business to business referrals.
Absolutely. Well, in communication, when I look at, because we have a product where we help body shops increase the number of reviews they get in their business. And part of that is they also get internal feedback first. So we can see if there's problems or issues. They can deal with them before the person goes to Yelp or Google. And I will tell you, Alex, you're probably not going to be surprised by this, but one of the biggest complaints that is the easiest thing in the world to fix is communication. It's
Yeah.
communication. Shop didn't communicate with me. I kept having to call and check on my car. Nobody told me it was ready. At the end of the repair, they told me there was going to be more money due. Like, no, it's communication. It's communication.
Yeah,
They want to be
it
communicated.
is.
And what that tells you is they want to be communicated with. So when you're doing the pre-scan, communicate it. Let them know all the things that make you special. You're certified, communicate that with them. They want to know. And like you said, if they don't want to, then that's okay. They're like, okay, whatever, just fix it, do what you got to do. But for most people, they're really going to appreciate that. So, very good. I knew this interview was going to be good, Alex. I'm glad we were able to do this.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was
I
good.
think we only talked about pre-measuring for like 2 minutes, but it was good. It's good.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I'm like, let's start out with something because I know me and we'll end up off on 5 billion other topics. But yeah, so let's wrap it up with the pre-measuring because I'm thinking as a shop owner, if I'm not doing pre-measuring and like, all right, you guys kind of have me convinced maybe this is something I should take more seriously. What's the first step? What do they do?
You call me, and then I'll
Okay.
sell you a spin easy touch.
Yeah.
And then one of our fantastic trainers and installers will come out and teach you how to use the machine, and
Mm,
we will work with you on creating the process. Because I mean, you can have the nicest equipment from any brand manufacturer of
yeah.
equipment on the planet, and if you don't have a process to use it, it will sit in a corner.
Very good
I mean,
point.
if you want to spend $500 a month on Google AdWords, but you never adjust it, it might as well just sit in a corner. So it doesn't really
Right.
matter what you do. If you don't have a process to if you don't have a baseline process, you can never make adjustments to your process.
Mm,
So buying the equipment is an important first step, but step 1A is actually determining who is going to use the equipment.
mm,
Because a lot of times the mistake that I see shops make is if they buy something, they think everyone should use it. And that isn't, I mean, I like the mindset, but it's very ambitious. And I think it leads to
mm.
failure a lot of times
Okay.
because in the day to day, more often than not, that person doesn't need to use it because they're not going to in their role.
Mm,
So establish the process and then implement it, enforce it. Not to say that the process is going to be perfect day one. I'm sure that you're going to
right.
have to make adjustments,
Yeah.
but the challenge that I always try to give body shop owners or operators is back away from your business and pretend it's not a body shop anymore. Would you
Mm,
still do it this way?
yeah.
If it's
That's
no longer
good.
a body shop and you don't know what you know about the industry, would you still like total loss charges is one that I hear all the
Mm,
time. Like we charge 75 a day for storage. Why? Well, because we get paid it, like what's your lot worth? What's your space worth? What's your time
right.
processing worth?
Right.
Step
Right.
away from it, pretend that you're not in the industry, and do you still do it that
Mm,
way?
yeah.
So the same thing
Very
with
good.
pre-measuring. I understand that your competitors may not be doing it, and it's not something that State Farm or Allstate's asking you to do, but objectively, does it help you repair the car more efficiently and in a more profitable manner? And if the
Mm,
answer is yes, I don't know what the hangup would be in pulling the trigger and starting.
yeah. Good point. So, purchase the equipment, processes, and I know from personal bad experience with owning my own shop is not having training on that equipment, which I'm sure you're assuming is lumped in with process. But let's be clear. If you don't know how
Yeah,
to use your tool, guess what
100%.
else is going to happen? It's collecting
Well,
dust.
I can't speak for all equipment, but when you purchase measuring from us, we do show up on site with the measuring and we train you.
Nice.
We spend a day in your shop, and
Good.
then we offer to all of our customers free factory training at our location.
Nice.
Or we have a distribution network that also has training centers.
Nice.
So factory training is always free from us. We can't always show up on site for free, but
Right.
the
Okay.
first time we most certainly are. We're there, we train, we make sure
Yeah.
that your technicians or you or whomever you're trying to get up to speed knows how to use the system, understands when and how to use the system. And then but even from there, we can deliver the best training class in the world. And then if you don't touch it again for 6 months until you have a problem,
Yeah.
it's we're starting from zero
Right.
again.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's what we always say when we leave. Measure everything for 3 weeks. Just every car, measure it. Even if the
Practice,
door didn't, just
practice.
just measure it. Make the
Yeah.
investment now so that later when you need it, you're ready to use it.
Right. And are most shops pre-measuring literally everything that comes in? Or are they
So
kind of
no,
diagnosing when and when not to?
yeah, I mean, it's a judgment call, and every shop is different. Um, for the way that we pre-measured at my shop was if it had more than minor cosmetic distortion. So if it wasn't,
Okay.
I wasn't whipping the machine out and measuring a door date because I didn't think that was fair. Now,
Right.
the side of this where you could make an argument to do that is there are a lot of pre-prepared vehicles out there that aren't safe and that have just been on the road.
True.
And I have seen, doing like car lot inspections for customers. I have seen a lot of cars with clean Carfax that come in and
Mm.
they very clearly have been poorly repaired in the past. And then in measuring that, I'm able to say, hey, liability waiver here. Um, Even if I don't get paid for it, I'm still covered now because I've measured it and I know before I started,
Yeah.
this car was already damaged here.
Right.
So then, I can make a more educated decision as a business owner. Do I want to repair this car with all of these damages, or do I want to just turn
Mm.
this one away because it's not, I mean, shops are getting sued now for poor
Yes.
repairs. This is,
Yeah.
you're no longer safe. So,
Totally.
so I do think there's an argument to measuring every car,
Mm.
but from a getting paid for it standpoint,
Yeah.
it's really, and you can kind of see if it makes sense. Everything in the
Right.
front of a car is meant to collapse now.
Yeah.
Door supports,
Yeah.
pedestrian stanchion. I mean, all of that is meant to collapse inward.
Right.
That's the point, is to keep the driver safe.
Yeah.
So anything hitting the front that exceeds like a scratch in the bumper cover, I would say you should probably measure that car.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about previous damage, although I've been hearing a lot of people talking about it, that if there's any previous damage on the vehicle, they don't touch it. Because they don't want the liability because everybody's suing everybody. And who
And
needs
if any
that?
used car dealers are listening to this, we would love to partner with you to do
Mm.
a case study and measure the cars on your lot and see
Mm.
what we can find on the cars with clean Carfaxes. But
Oh gosh, they're probably like,
I don't
please
have any
don't.
takers. I don't have any takers on that yet. I've asked a few people and I have no takers. So
I I'm not surprised, Alex. I gotta
yeah,
tell you. They're like, can we just get the car off the lot, please?
yeah.
Um, this was really good. I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with me about
Appreciate you
this.
having us. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like anybody that's listening, if you don't have at least a couple takeaways right now, then you need to rewind it and listen because there's so many good pieces in here that can be really valuable. We're talking about moving the needle, right? Like, I feel like people that are listening to podcasts and trying to develop and be better, it's all about developing and adjusting. And these are all quality core pieces that, when embraced and understood, can be moving your business forward. And we just touched on a lot of them. So, I wasn't meaning to pack this episode full of so many things, but I think it's good. I think it's helpful. I know that these are issues that shops are dealing with because I hear about it, like I'm sure you do, all the
Yeah.
time. So, so awesome. Well, anything else you wanted to kind of throw out there before we wrap it up?
I think we covered the bases anyways.
Yeah,
So
and then some. Perfect.
yeah, and then some.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Alex, for coming on. I will have Alex's information in the show notes if you guys want to reach out to him and get some more information on maybe some of the systems that they have, or maybe if you just have questions in general, I'm sure he'd love to help you out. And always make sure to like the video, make sure you subscribed and share it. If you feel like this would help your team, share it with them. If you feel like it would help another friend that's a shop owner, share it with them. The more we share it, the more this gets out and people get to see the good content we got on here, like our good guest we had today from Spinisi. So thank you all, and we will see you next time. Bye.